Alright guys, so this is going to be a really natural, really cat eye, and then I'm also going to do my foundation. So first I am just pinning my hair back so it's out of my way. And then I'm going to go in with my Revlon Color Stay. This is for the combination of oily skin and the color Rich Tan. I think it's 350, I believe. Now I'm just buffing that into my skin. I'm doing a really, really light layer of it because at the end of doing all my eyeshadow and all that good stuff, I'm going to do another layer to make sure I cover everything really good. But I'm going to let this first really small layer dry and set in my skin. And now I'm going to take my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, and I'm using this as a primer. It'll prevent any creasing, any oiliness throughout the day. It's really great, and it's neutral. And since it's neutral, I like to use it. So I had to switch cameras because my other one died. So that's what the look's going to look like. I'm just using my Naked palette from Urban Decay. I'm only using 3 colors from the palette. First, I'm going to take the color Naked, which is like a bone color. It's really like skin tone. And I'm just placing that on my lid, and I'm going to bring it all the way up to my brow bone. I'm putting that in my crease as well, so that way when I go to blend the other color in there, it blends really nicely. Now I'm just taking a crease brush and using the color Buck, which is just a really um, soft brown. It's matte and everything. And I'm just putting that in my crease, going back and forth like a windshield wiper, just really concentrating it on the outer corner of the eye and on the outer corner of the eyelid. Just keep blending until you get the desired color. I'm really just adding it to add some definition into my eye. It's not really doing much to it. So now that I have the color that I want, I'm going to mix 2 colors together to get my highlight. It's going to be Sin and Naked together. I usually don't use the shimmer on my highlight, but they really don't have a matte color that's good for my highlight, and I didn't want to use a different palette, so I just wanted to focus on one palette. So now I'm taking my e.l.f. eyebrow kit. This is $3 at Target. And as you can see, my eyebrows are really light compared to my hair, so I always fill them in. One side of the palette is just a wax kind of consistency, and then the other side is a powder. So first I go through with the wax and just get everything, and that really adds that dark color to it, and it makes sure that your eyelashes or your eyebrows stick in the same spot without moving. Sometimes you get hairs going everywhere, so this is really nice. A lot of times too, I'll take a concealer and I'll go around my eyebrows. It'll make them look really, really sharp. If I'm like going out or something, I do that. And sometimes when I go to work, I do, but I'm kind of in a hurry today, so I didn't want to add that step in. So now I'm just filling it in with the powder now, trying to get it as dark as the other side, and just combing that through with like a little spoolie brush. Now I'm taking my cream eyeliner by e.l.f. This is also a very great product. It's $3. I got it from Target, or you can get it from eyeslipsface.com. I actually really love this even more than the MAC Black Track gel eyeliner. Um, their gel eyeliner is like $18, and I'm not kidding. I had it for like 2 months, and it dried out, and when you put it on your eye, it doesn't even look as black as this, and this is $3, and this works really great. So I'm just lining that on my upper lash line. I am doing a really as thin as I can do. I don't want it too thick up there. I have really round eyes, so I want to make them look more narrow. I started doing my wing, and as you can see in a second, I didn't like the way it looked, so I just got a Q-tip and some eye makeup remover and just wiped it off. It's kind of hard to get the two to match when you did the first one before. It's a lot easier if you're doing them both at the same time. But like I said, this is like a Angelina Jolie. She always has a real natural, like neutral look. She really doesn't ever have eyeshadow or blush or lipstick, really, except for her red lips, of course. She just has really defined eyeliner. So that's what I was trying to get to. So now that I got my eyeliner matching, I'm going to take my mascara, and I'm using the Maybelline One by One. This is really great. It's really good for separating your eyelashes. It doesn't really make them look like full and like thick. It just separates them. So I always just use a little bit of that to separate my lashes, and then I go in with my favorite mascara, which is the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black or something like that. As you can see, I got a little bit on my face, and if any of you guys watched my makeup tips video, you'll know that you just let that sit there for a minute, and then you can wipe it right off. But I'm taking the Maybelline one now, and I'm going on my bottom lashes. Since I'm not adding any eyeliner, I don't want a lot of mascara down there, just very, very little bit. So now I'm going back to my foundation. I'm just going over any fallout, just really focusing on my cheeks or where the most problem areas I have, which as you can see, I'm suffering from a few breakouts on my cheeks. I'm watching Teen Mom. Well, it's actually 16 and Pregnant. It's Macy's like first time ever on the show, on 16 and Pregnant. I never saw it, so I was watching that too. So now I'm just really buffing that into my skin. And now I'm taking my concealer, which is a few shades lighter than my skin tone, but I like to use lighter concealer on my under eyes. It kind of makes you look more awake. Now I'm just blending that in. I'm using an eyeshadow brush, but I just use it strictly for my concealer. I'm just blending that in really good, and then I'm using my finger to blend it in even better after, because the warmth from your skin, really makes it glide in there really nicely. So I'm just making sure it's all blended in there. I needed that today because I stayed up all night with my niece. My camera died again, so as you can see, I am now going in with a different camera, but I took my concealer and covered my two little pimples, and now I'm just going back over it with my foundation because it's so much lighter than my skin tone. But really, when you have it's really hard to cover texture if you have a pimple. You can color the color of it, but not really the texture. So now I'm just taking my powder and I'm just setting my under eye concealer. I don't like putting a lot of powder on my face because I like the more dewy look, especially this time of year in the fall and everything, since your skin has a tendency to dry out. So now I'm just taking very little bit of powder and just kind of setting everything, making sure that it's all set in there. It's really nothing on the brush. Alright, now I'm taking my e.l.f. contouring and blush. This is $3 as well. Everything is like $1, $3 at e.l.f. And I'm just taking the contour, the bronzer part of it. It's one of my favorite bronzers. It has no shimmer. And I'm just really focusing on underneath the hollows of my cheeks. Angelina Jolie does have very defined cheekbones, so I try to replicate this look. And this is something I wear like every day, just about. I'm taking that up, as you see, on top of my forehead and then underneath my chin. And then now I'm taking the blush side, which is a very like corally blush. I'm just kind of setting it a little bit on top of the bronzer, and I decided that I wanted a little bit more color on my cheeks, so I'm taking my Heather Silk blush by Wet n Wild and just popping that on the apples. So now I'm done with the whole makeup, and I'm just taking my two favorite lipsticks ever. One is Primrose. They're both by Revlon. Primrose is the pink one. Nude Attitude is the nude one. The nude one is, if you just wore that by yourself, you'd look like you had no lips. So I like to mix them two together. So I just put one on the top lip, one on the bottom, and rub those together. It gets you a very like baby pink color. You really want to have a pink or a red lip when you have such a neutral eye. Now I'm just taking my favorite lip gloss by e.l.f. as well. It's just a pink color, and I'm just sweeping that on top of it. So that's the finished look, guys. I hope you enjoyed.